探戈杂谈室。
Ni vos ni yo supimos cuál se perdió, ni dónde el bien y el mal tuvo un día final y otro día comenzó.
嗨，大家好，欢迎来到探戈杂谈室。我们今天要来用双语来进行我们的探戈杂谈的内容。为什么呢？今天邀请到的是新加坡的老师，那我跟他认识还蛮久的时间了。他常常是我一个很好拿来做的例子，是为什么学探戈很有趣，就是因为当你学会探戈之后，你飞到世界各地，只要带着你一双舞鞋。落地之后，你立刻可以找到当地的舞会。那进到舞会之后，当地的舞者通常都会很热情的跟你打招呼，问你等一下去哪里玩啊，或是带大家去吃好吃的宵夜等等，然后马上就可以结交到当地的好朋友。好，那这一位怀聪老师呢，他是我去新加坡开会的第一天晚上，我就跟老板说，哎，我要去找朋友。那我老板也说很惊讶，我在新加坡第一次来，怎么会有朋友？好，所以就像我刚刚讲那个模式，我到了舞会之后，立刻认识的一些舞者这样。So today we will speak in English because our guest today is Wai Chong from Singapore. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Wai Chong. Long time no see.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. So as I know that now the COVID thing in Singapore is slowly down, so your tango events is coming back like normal a little bit.
I think ever since Easter, we've opened up and we actually have more tango events in Singapore again. Yay, finally.
Yay. Yeah, that's good. Good. Wai Chong, could you introduce you a little bit for our audience?
Sure. My name is Wai Chong. I'm one of the full-time tango teachers here in Singapore. I've been teaching tango since 2006 when I started teaching professionally. So 2006 when I quit my job and moved to Buenos Aires, and then I came back and started teaching here. I've been dancing tango since 2001, so about 20 years. And before that, I did, modern contemporary and other stage and performance dances. Over this time, I've never stopped tango at all. I've been in tango without needing to take a break. Some people sort of, after a while they need to stop a little bit because they're a bit overwhelmed. But I've enjoyed it this entire 20 years, and I've been with tango this whole time.
Oh, and why do you need tango so much?
Why do I need it? I'm addicted. That's why. It's like drugs. I don't know. Tango is something that I started because I felt it was very unique as a dance. It created something that was completely different from all the other dances that I've done. Mm-hmm. And once I found that, it really is a bit like chasing a drug. It's a sensation, it's a feeling, it's a connection. There are many terms for it because it's not very hard. It's a bit hard to identify what it is, but you're searching for this the whole time. And when you find it, it's amazing.
Sounds like a true love.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, like the sensation of love too. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so you mentioned that you went to Buenos Aires in 2006 and you go back every once in a while.
I went for 3 months on my first trip. And then I basically went for 2 or 3 months every year for about 10 years. I think 2018 was my last trip, and I haven't been there for 4 years now.
Oh,
I want to go back, but it's just hasn't been possible the last couple of years.
You stay 2 to 3 months every year. Oh, that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
So you just dive yourself in tango so much, right? Mm-hmm. You must take a lot of classes over there.
Most of the time when I'm there, especially during the first 5 years, every day is quite similar. The afternoons from about 12 noon when I wake up, I'll have a breakfast, usually from a takeout or someplace very convenient to just grab food quickly. I'll go for a Spanish class and tango classes. So I took some time learning Spanish as well as some time to take tango classes, maybe 2 or 3 classes during the day, and then go home, have a nap, rest, and then wake up at 9 o'clock and go out for dinner and then milonga. And that was pretty consistent over maybe 5 to 6 days a week, almost every week that I'm there. Out of every trip, I usually take 1 week away from tango and I will visit Iguazu or Ushuaia, Patagonia, or somewhere in Argentina. I will travel a little bit, but that's like a holiday within my trip. So maybe only a 1 week holiday.
Wow, sounds nice.
Hmm.
Then did you go to Practica over there too?
There were some, but the practicas over there is not the way that I understood practicas when I learned tango. So there were practicas over there, and I think when I first started, I didn't see so many because I wasn't introduced to them. But the practicas when I started was more like 2 or 3 people agreeing to meet up together, rent a salon, and then dance and practice yourself. A practica over there when we started was called a practica because it wasn't so formal like a milonga with the formal rules.
Yeah.
But it was still social dancing. Yeah. People were more dancing to do things. Whereas when I learned a practica with my teachers, the definition of a practica was really for you to practice something until you get it right, something that you know in your head, but your body isn't very good at. So it's more acceptable to stop, to talk to each other, to discuss what went right or what went wrong, and then keep trying to dance.
Yeah.
But then once you go to a place where everybody's following line of dance, nobody stops, and you're in the flow, then the focus is different, because then it's not very nice for one couple to stop and then everybody gets jammed up. Yeah. So there was 1 or 2 practicas I went to there, but it wasn't very common when I was there.
Oh, so then how about practica in Singapore?
Practica in Singapore is a lot more focused, in a sense that we have practica here. And to me, because of the way that I was taught by my teacher, Gladys Fernandez, and Ricardo Gasho, and a few other teachers that came to Singapore before, when we started and when I learned from a few people who were talking about the different aspects of tango, a practica is really focused on you doing what you know to be correct until it becomes a good habit. So in Singapore at the moment, we have some practicas, and the practicas are such that if you do walking exercises by yourself up and down the room, trying to get your body to move correctly, if you want to do turns with a partner and you just keep turning around and around and around, again and again, ask your partner, is it correct? Does it feel comfortable? What can I do to improve? This is really what the practica was about, to try and perfect or to fine tune the movement. And we have that in Singapore, and we have that regularly in Singapore. So it's quite good that way.
Oh, that's nice. So that's events more close to the definition of practica to you, right?
Yes, correct. To me, when you're learning tango, there's 3 aspects of tango that you need to get. And then there's 3 things that you do about it to help you with it. So you need the knowledge for tango. What you're trying to do is right or wrong. You need to understand. So you need to learn. And for that, we have classes.
Yeah.
You need to be able to practice what you know. So maybe you need to balance on one leg, but maybe your balance is not so good yet. That's what the practica is for, to go and practice. So you know what's right and wrong, but you need more time than just the teacher telling you. You need time for your body to adapt to it. That part is the practica. And then you need to be able to take all the things that you learned, and you need to be able to share it with a partner and enjoy it. And that's where the milonga comes in. You shouldn't be in the milonga to try and learn from your partner, and you shouldn't be in the milonga to practice something that you cannot do yet. You shouldn't be in the practica trying to ask people to teach you, because it's a practica, not a class. And you shouldn't be in the class trying to enjoy yourself, because it's a class, not a milonga. So if you understand that these are 3 separate things to help you with 3 separate components, then it's much easier to absorb tango.
So, but there's a phrase that we heard very often that milonga is our best teacher. How do you think about this phrase?
I think milonga is, I disagree that the milonga is the best teacher.
Yeah.
I think the milonga is more like the exam.
Exam. Okay.
Yeah.
Exam.
See,
Okay.
yeah. Because to say the milonga is the best teacher means that if you are wrong, you will be able to learn what is correct. I don't think the milonga helps you with that. I think the milonga is such that if you are wrong, you will feel like you did it wrong, and now you have to go and figure out, go somewhere to learn what is correct.
Ah.
So it's more like an exam rather than like a class. I personally think that if you're going to a milonga to enjoy yourself, more importantly, to make your partner enjoy themselves, and everybody shares the pleasure of tango, then it's very enjoyable, but you will dance at the level of the lowest dancer. Because if I'm dancing with somebody who's much higher level than me, and they want to enjoy themselves, but I'm not at that level, then when I dance with them, they have to lower their level to me. Or if I try and dance higher and higher, eventually I make more and more mistakes, and it's not very enjoyable for either person. So me learning more and practicing more is to make my partner enjoy themselves. And my partner enjoying more is for me to enjoy myself. So we have to share it that way.
Good point. So you don't think that just by going to Pratica and the milonga will improve our tango, right?
I don't think so, no. I think it will help. Let me explain it this way. If I have a conversation with somebody and my vocabulary is not very good, or my grammar is not very good, or my language, spoken language is not very good, if I don't go for classes, if I just talk to more and more people, I can get by. I can make myself understood. But I might make some mistakes very, very often, so they become common mistakes for me. And once they become common mistakes, it's very hard to correct.
Yeah.
But my partner can understand me, and I can understand my partner. So then I ignore the mistakes, because it doesn't matter if I make a mistake. We can understand each other. That's all that matters in a conversation, in a milonga. But that doesn't make me better at the language itself. I may be very bad at the language, just that you can understand me. Yeah. So it's more like there is learning and understanding to become better. And then there's compensation mechanisms that help you to be understood, even though you're not very good. In the same way, there are some milongueros who maybe have danced for 60 years, never taken a class because they never knew what classes were like. They grew up dancing in the milongas every day. Their posture is not very good. Their embrace maybe is a bit awkward or a bit too tight. Maybe they bend one knee and straighten the other knee, so their walking is a bit weird. But at the same time, they've done it so many years with so many followers, they know how to make it comfortable. It's comfortable for the follower, even though they look a little bit, hunched and bent over all the time. But it's comfortable, so more ladies want to dance with them. Is that good tango? I don't know. I don't consider it to be. I think if they had the chance, if you gave the same guy the opportunity and said, if you could go back and be an upright, more comfortable dancer who goes home at night without feeling body pain in one shoulder, but you take the same amount of time to become soft to your follower, I think most of them would prefer to be a more even dancer.
With awkward posture dancers, they might feel pain with their body after they are dancing because they use the awkward posture. But we can see lots of some of the dancers, they do have some problems, but they think that they are a bunch of ladies, they are willing to dance with me, so I don't need to improve myself. Then how can we do with those guys?
I don't. I think, like I said, the difference between learning and exam, you can pass the exam. It doesn't necessarily mean you learned very well, but it's still possible to pass the exam. In tango, the exam is, if you go to a milonga and many people want to dance with you, then you pass. If you are in one of the best milongas in Buenos Aires, the level of the exam is going to be quite different than if you're in a milonga with 20 people in the middle of some unknown country that, you know, doesn't really dance tango, because the level at which you need to dance so that the women dance with you is going to be at a different level. So the exam itself is relative to the milonga. If I go to a milonga in Taichung and I dance there and everybody wants to dance with me there, does that mean I'm a good dancer? Well, okay, reasonably good dancer. If I take the same dancing ability and then I go to the best milonga in Buenos Aires, will all the women also want to dance with me in Buenos Aires? Maybe, maybe not. Like it's a different sensation, right? And what people are looking for is also a little bit different. So in some places, maybe people want more tight embrace. In other places, maybe people don't like to dance under such a tight embrace. Maybe they want more freedom for expression and for movement. But in certain places in Buenos Aires, even if you want expression and movement, if it's 100 people crowded into a very small dance floor, there's not much space to express freely. If you try and express freely, you will kick somebody else or you'll bump into somebody else. So the dance has to be small. So there's a balance between what you need and want and what's available within the space that you have. So that also means that to be a good dancer, you need to adapt to that situation. Once you're in that situation, then are you desirable by the members of the other by the women or the men that you're dancing with? But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that you learn to dance well. That just means that you're comfortable
with ourselves.
Yeah, with yourself and with your partner. Yeah.
So for you, if we want to go to different level of exam, aka milongas, we have to practice for these different kind of levels or in a practica, right?
I feel that it's important you understand that many different milongas around the world are different. So you need to improve yourself as a dancer to be adaptable, to be able to dance and enjoy yourself in different situations. Maybe in a big empty room, maybe in a small closed room, maybe with D'Arienzo and rhythmical music like Biaggi, maybe with like Salamanca or Calo or stuff that's very slow. I think there's a lot of variation in the way that the dance is expressed. If you understand this and you can bring yourself and your emotion to your partner to share, then you'll be able to dance anywhere regardless of the circumstances. But the idea isn't to practice like it's an exam. The idea is to practice to improve yourself so that no matter what the exam is, you can enjoy yourself. We've gone too far into the exam concept. Let's move away from that because you're meant to enjoy yourself, not to be an exam.
Okay, we see you next time. Bye-bye.